Hello everyone, my name is Azadeh Ahadian. Welcome to the SaaS Security webinar series. In today's session, we will talk about Google Drive and what we need to know about requirements, content support, user activity support, different types of remediation supports, common behaviors, and issues you might face during onboarding. We also cover how to identify risks for the Google Drive app. First, let's take a look at the supported cloud apps. And a quick reminder that SaaS Security API currently supports more than 26 sanctioned applications. Also note that sanctioned applications are SaaS applications that are allowed and supported by your company. Now let's review the workflow for adding and scanning a cloud app. The first step is connecting the cloud app to SaaS Security API. In order to do that, we need to authenticate the app using an administrator account. The privileges requirements are different for each application. After successful authentication, SaaS Security API receives a token from the cloud app. This token is used to establish a secure connection. Then SaaS Security API connects to the application programming interface. Using API, it starts scanning the data and continues monitoring modified or new data to identify policy violations and risks. During the discovery process, SaaS Security API gets metadata for all files and folders on the application. The metadata includes file properties and attributes and the application-level metadata such as file owner, email, and collaborators. For the apps that also have structured data such as Salesforce, and for the messaging apps such as Slack, SaaS Security API scans both structured and unstructured data. SaaS Security API supports both MyDrive and shared drives. MyDrive is a space dedicated to an individual. When it is enabled, it creates a folder on the computer and copies the content from the cloud to there and keeps them synchronized. Shared drives are shared spaces between teams where they can collaborate, store, and share their files and access them from anywhere. The files in shared drives belong to everyone on the team. What are the requirements to add Google Drive app? In order to add Google Drive, we need to have a Google Drive admin account with super admin privileges. Then we need to add this account to SaaS Security API and give it a super admin role. The next step is to add Google Drive app to the Google Drive Marketplace and to the SaaS Security API. And the last step is to grant Google Drive API access to SaaS Security API. SaaS Security API scans files and folders for both MyDrive and shared drives. And both types of scan are supported. Forward scan, which is the process of scanning newly detected assets after the detection point, and backward scan, which is scanning assets before the detection point. It also supports group-based scan. The support for user activities is monitoring and alerting on suspicious activities. The support includes monitoring events within a folder too. For monitoring activities, you go to Explore Activities page. You can set alerts for user activities by creating a user activity policy rule in the Policy User Activity Rule panel. For monitoring activity within a folder, you go to Explore Assets, Events within a folder. Now, let's take a look at the remediation support and options we provide for Google Drive. The first one is quarantine. For MyDrive, we have support for both user and admin quarantine. User quarantine sends the asset to a quarantine folder in the owner's root directory on the cloud app. Admin quarantine sends the asset to a special admin quarantine folder that only admin users can access. For shared drive, we only have the admin quarantine option. The second option is to change sharing or remove the public links. This applies to both direct link and inherited link. And the last option, which is sending notification to file owners, is only supported for My Drive and only from an admin account. No support for notifying from a machine account. Now, let's review post-remediation support. There are some actions that admins can perform after files are quarantined. For both Google Drive, My Drive, and shared drives, the options after admin quarantine are deleting the file, restoring the file, and downloading the file. These options allow the admin to access the files and take proper action. Now let's talk about Google Drive's common behaviors. One important thing to note is how created date and last updated date are interpreted in Google Drive. Last modified or last uploaded is the date that the file is modified locally by the user. Create date or created is the date that the file is uploaded to the Google Cloud. So the Google Drive asset created date indicates a more current date than the last updated date. The behavior is expected, and that is how Google Drive determines timestamps. The second one that needs to pay attention to is that moving the files between My Drive and shared drives is shown as a delete action on Google Drive. And this is what the SaaS Security API dashboard shows, because we show whatever the API returns from the Google Drive. There is no known solution yet, but this has been communicated with our Google Drive partner. The third common behavior we need to pay attention to is file exposure. Sometimes file exposure level shows as external when it is only shared with internal users. The reason for that is that for Google shared drives, SaaS Security API analyzes files direct collaborators and all drives members. And if one of the members is external, SaaS Security API assigns exposure level external, although it has not been shared by external users, but because the external users are members of drives, so the file is exposed. So this behavior too is as designed and expected. Now let's review some of the common onboarding issues. The details instruction on onboarding the Google Cloud App has been explained in online documentation and is very easy to follow. There are 4 common issues we are going to discuss in detail. These errors are related to authentication, login, redirect link, and uninstall message. If you get an authentication error message in one of the steps when you attempt to connect to Google Drive account, it means that the Google account does not have sufficient permission to authenticate. Remember, one of the requirements was having an account with super admin privileges. One of the steps in instruction is verifying this account's privileges in the Google Drive app. Another error message could appear at the same step when you click on Connect to Google Drive account. The login error indicates that the email address must be added to SaaS Security API as a super admin. We want to make sure that this Google account and the email address are added to SaaS Security API as a super admin. Again, at the same step, when we try to connect to the Google Drive account, it redirects us to a product landing page where we should see the Google Drive in the Cloud Apps list. If Google Drive app doesn't show up, it might be because the cached files are preventing the correct redirect. what you need to do is to open SAS Security API in an incognito window and repeat relaunching the install page and connecting to the Google Drive account. Now you should be able to see the Google Drive app in the Cloud Apps list. Another message we might see when trying to go to the Google Marketplace to install the Google Drive app is a message that asks us to uninstall the app. There are two reasons for this message. The first reason for this message is if we previously installed the app and deleted it from SAS Security API, but did not delete it from Google Marketplace. So the solution is easy. Just delete the app from Google Marketplace, and then we will be able to add it to SAS Security API. This problem can also happen when you either abort the installation or forget to connect to your Google Drive account. So first try to connect to your Google Drive account by clicking on Connect to Google Drive account. If the Google Marketplace page is still open and you are in the same browser and the same session you first added the Google Drive. If not, just delete the app from the Marketplace and follow the steps to add it again. Now, there is another issue related to monitoring user activities. If user activities for Google Drive do not show in the SAS Security API dashboard, the problem might be related to wrong permissions. To fix this, you need to remove the API client access from Google, then authenticate the Google app again to re-enable the access. It is recommended that you confirm the issue first with your Palo Alto support team before doing so. First, you need to open a web browser and log into admin.google.com. Then select Google Workspace Marketplace app list and select Prisma SAS by Palo Alto Networks. Then select Data Access or Auth Scopes and select Remove Access. And finally, we have some recommendations to improve the scan result for the Google Drive app. One is modifying match criteria in your policies and editing data patterns and data profiles to better address your security concerns. You can also define new policy rules specifically designed for Google Drive, focusing on asset rules, user activity rules, and security policy rules to identify risks in your Google Drive app. This concludes our session today. We will have our question and answer session now. I want to thank you everyone for attending today's session.